Hello, everyone. My name is Juby.
And I'm Vanessa. And welcome to No
No filters, no fears
Filters
podcast.
Podcast. I was like, uh.
Always, what's going on? We're never
What's
gonna
good,
learn.
everybody? We're gonna get it. We've gotten it before. Today was just one of those days where it was not that day.
Just always go with the flow. Just say it.
Oh,
So today's elephant is a four. It might be a
yeah.
five to some other people, but to us, it's a four. It's
For
about
me.
body image and body positivity and how that plays in our everyday life and what we could do to help each other. Ooh, I'm so excited.
Burning some incense to get this party started.
Yes.
So I'm excited for the beginning of this. We always start with the definition of things, and there is a definition for today, right? And Chubi is super excited about it and would not
Well,
tell me before. Would not tell me. So I'm excited too. I don't know
in,
either, guys.
in technicality, will be a Chubby 411 early time because it's information. We're gonna learn something today. We're gonna learn, and mind you, I didn't know, so now we are gonna learn. So are y'all ready? Are we
Yeah,
ready for this? I know you're ready because I've been telling. Okay,
I've
so
been.
body positivity is a social movement initially created to empower and shed light on plus size women and men, while challenging the ways in which society presents and views the physical body. The movement advocates the acceptance of all bodies regardless of physical ability, size, gender, race, and appearance. But this is where it gets tricky. Well, fun. It actually began in the 1850s. That was the first movement. Here we go. This is where it gets.
What?
It was called
You
the
really are blowing my mind.
Victorian dress reform. As a part of the first wave of feminism in the 1850 through the 1890s, there was a movement called Victorian dress reform movement that aimed to put an end to the trend of women having to modify their bodies through the corsets and tight lacing in order to fit the societal standards of tiny
Wow.
waistlines. So that was technically the first wave. And it gets more into detail with that, but that goes to show that this is not new.
No.
And
But a
no,
lot of these movements aren't, are they? Right?
no,
Everyone's
of
acting
course
like
not.
Black Lives Matter just started yesterday or during the pandemic. Nah, it's been there. Right?
In the 60s,
Wow. 18.
there was this sit-in, called Fats in Central Park. Yeah.
Okay.
The purpose was to protest discrimination
Right.
against
Discrimination.
discrimination against the fat. And I'm unquoting quote this because obviously not my
The
words.
fat. The
Fat.
fat.
The the the.
Oh,
It was 5 months after the fat in that
I'm
Lou.
I'm
I
I'm like
know.
fighting all of the triggers right now. All of them.
I couldn't believe
I'm
it.
just gonna hold that out there like this. I'm just gonna bring it on. Mm.
His name was Lou Lauterbach, essay entitled "More People Should Be Fat!" Exclamation point. As a result of him witnessing the discrimination his wife experienced as a result of her size. This was in the 1960s in Central Park. Yeah, so that was considered the first wave in the modern times, if you want to call it that. The
Yeah.
second wave was in the 1990s. The second wave of body positivity prioritized giving people of all sizes a place where they could comfortably come together and exercise. There were programs being made for specifically for overweight people. A popular program at the time was Making Waves, which was weekly fat swim. Home exercise program like Genia Haddon and Linda DeMarco's home exercise video, Yoga for Round Bodies, were also made for those who were not comfortable joining a wellness program. So that was technically called a second wave in the 90s. Yeah, I felt the same way. I was like, are you kidding me? These
Well,
shit.
okay. I mean, I'm just gonna let the information finish.
The
Oh,
third
I
wave
got all the trauma stories today. It's on like Donkey Kong. And I hope you guys are feeling brave in the comments today and we'll share about your experiences and where you're at and know that we can leave it here. We can leave it here and be done with it. Right?
yeah,
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead with that. Ooh, because I can understand the positive aspect to it, right? It's allowing a safe space for people that had been discriminated it's not just you. Discriminated against because of their size or had felt ostracized because of their size, a place where they could exercise because there's that misconception, right? That if you're
right.
fat, you don't exercise or you're automatically unhealthy, which
Unhealthy.
is not true. Uh,
Right. Is that synonymous
that
with
you're
unhealthy?
inactive, that you're just a couch potato. Again, not true.
Yeah, there's a common misconception that is synonymous with unhealthy. And I'm like, where the freak did you get that from?
Right. But
So
at the
what?
same time, in creating that safe space that allows them to want to be healthier with, you know, I mean, there are things that happen. You might lose weight, you might not, but it is important to be active and all of that. So I can appreciate that aspect of it.
So whoever's
And
doing
normalizing the word fat
right.
to
I
not
mean,
have a
obviously
negative
then when
connotation.
they were how they were saying it was like the fat
I'm trying to do a
animal,
whole lot of that right now.
right? If you're tuning in right now, I am reading the history of body positivity, of body image, and how we got to be today. We just read the 90s. I am now going to the 2000s, which is us. The third wave is us because we are living it right now. It started in 2012. That's when this whole body positivity actually came about, when we started hearing it. It was launched in a social media platform. That's where it literally began. And social media is now is becoming popular. It's popular now. So we're able to find all of these things through that. The movement challenged the unrealistic standards of feminine beauty, like smooth skin, body size, and avoidance of any imperfections. Model and feminist Tess Holliday, which we're both like fans of her, found in the F Your Body beauty
My
standard,
girl.
which brought an outpour of support to
Yep.
the body positive
She's
movement. After founding the movement, Holliday was signed to a Milk Management, a large model agency in Europe, as her first model over a size 20.
which is notoriously known for only having thin models, Milk
Right,
Management. And now they are big on their plus size talent. So
right. And she
yeah.
was a size 26 at the time. So she was the first.
Yeah, baby.
So yeah, as you know, Instagram has been utilized as an advertising platform for the movement since. Pioneers connect with brands and advertisers to promote the movement. In 2006, Mattel released a new line of Barbie dolls under the name Fashionistas, with 3 different body shapes, 7 skin colors, and 22 eye colors and 24 hairstyles to be more inclusive. Body artists have also helped promote and spread education and about body positivity in the US and UK, producing a number of notable outdoor nude paintings displayed for plus size men and women. So that's our third wave. We're living the third wave, so we know more about that than any other wave out there. So I know that was a lot that we were just hearing, but as you can tell, the one thing that is constant is that we are still getting shamed. This movement, it has been, as you can tell, around for a while now. It doesn't matter what you call the movement is still there, no matter what you call it.
Yeah.
Like no matter what you call the movement has been there, and is trying to change that. Hey, welcome back.
Yeah. I'm here.
I was like, "Are you okay?" And then I just saw
Yeah.
that look, and then I was like, "Is she frozen?" Because like she held
Yeah. I
it
was
for
like,
so
oh no,
long.
Chubby, we lost you. And then I went away. Um,
Helen says also like what Fenty's doing towards inclusivity of our body types.
oh
Yes,
man,
we saw
Fenty.
that runway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it for the like last year's first for the first time, and it made me feel so good. I mean, I think it's fair to start from before and then move to now, because now it's massively empowering what we see, right?
Oh, yeah.
And this is in multiple aspects. I can speak from the perspective of a plus size woman, and part of what I get upset about is, you know, and I've been guilty of it. I think I told you this yesterday. I've been guilty of it as well, where it's like, of someone's thinner than me or thin, and I say, and they make a comment about their own dislike about their body image or their particular thing, and I'm like, girl, please, or boy, please, I'm bigger, whatever. But we can't invalidate that,
Right.
right? And so it's what we are seeing now is so much of the acceptance of being ultra thin, because there's some people that are just naturally very very thin, or because of a health problem are excessively thin, right? And there's nothing they can really do about it. That's just their body type, and they get, ostracized just as much as an overweight person, right? And it's lovely to see that shift in that and perspective and inclusivity and representation of the different body types, and not just because of size, but scars and missing limbs and things like that.
Right.
Those kinds of things is really beautiful to see. But let's be real, this all means a lot to us because we all have our own.
Issues with body
we
image.
we're coming in with the luggage, with the baggage of what it means to us. Shubi, um, I guess the fair question for us to start with is like what body image means to us. What shaped that for us,
Or what is shaping that for us.
or what continues to, yeah. Because so much of it is like what we get fed, right? And it's not just at home, it's the TV, it's at school, it's all those things. And what influenced me and meant something to me and I clung on to as, okay, this is what beauty is, this is what perfection is something completely different to you,
Oh, of course.
right? So what were those things? What were those experiences
Well,
for you?
see, that's a tricky thing to me because the only one I ever compared myself to was when I was younger.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, I remember when I was younger, I was thinner. I'm like, yeah, because you were a kid. So of course you're gonna be thinner. You're not gonna go into your woman body until now. You're not gonna have all what you have now. So that was a very difficult part for me to realize I am growing
Mm.
and that I need to be in the woman or the body that I am in today. Because that's 10 years ago, that's 11 years ago. You really can't compare yourself to that.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest issue, me comparing myself to me and thinking that there was something wrong with me until I heard that this girl on Twitter talk about that. She's like, don't compare yourself to the younger you when you were a child or even in your 20s because you were a kid and you're still growing. So to me, my imperfections that I think I have now are because of that, because of who I used to be. And I was like, that is an interesting thing to look back at, that I was like comparing myself to the thinner me, and I'm like, well, I'm still growing. So, but I've never, I always thought everybody was beautiful. I don't care what size they were, because I never looked at that. I know it sounds like, oh yeah, you have, and I'm like, to a degree, but not to where I'm like, I want to look like her, or I want to look like them. I always was like, I want to be comfortable with myself and what I think
Right.
is best for my body, like how I
That's beautiful. That's amazing. You're so far along the journey.
still getting there. Sometimes,
Yeah.
it does get the thoughts are like, oh my God, you just gained weight, or a little here, there, or like you need to go more exercise, or oh my God, you just. But it's not that. It's just sometimes you can't let that go, and it's
Right.
it's hard. It's hard for everybody,
Yeah.
but the journey is there, and it's still getting. And it's gonna get to the point where you don't think about that, where you don't think about, oh my God, I
Yeah.
can fit into my favorite skirt now. You just put it on and keep on going.
Dale para la fiesta.
Oh, thank you, Natasha. Beautiful and powerful ladies right here. We appreciate it.
Hi.
How
Um,
about you? What happened? What's? Whew. I
Chalupa.
know, and we talked about it so many
I'm
times.
like, I'm already like, I feel it right here in the corner of my eye. And I'm like, you stay in there. Y'all, disclaimer, I might cry. Okay. This is so Chubi and I
It's,
talk at length about these episodes and what we want to talk about, what we want to share with y'all and get perspectives from y'all. And this was a topic that has been on the table for a minute, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't
we
ready.
weren't. We weren't. 'Cause
Uh, yeah, Chubi wasn't ready either. It's a heavy topic, and I mean, for me in particular, it's a really big deal. It's maybe one of the only things where I can honestly say that I've battled. That's not one of the only things, but it's one of the major things that I battled shame about. Right, when we've talked about that, we've had that episode already. But it was very interesting for me growing up because I had these conflicting messages. Right, my mother is a very strong, powerful, intelligent, beautiful woman who was an athlete and bodybuilder.
también, what has
Yeah,
your mom done?
my mother has done it all. And I grew up watching her, like, my mom could be without makeup and be acabando, and then slap on what we call the war paint, put on all the face, and then just extra acabar, like with the world. And then, but she'd walk by a mirror. And even now, my mother is 65 years old, she's a curvy lady, and she'll walk by a mirror and be like, Carmen Rubio, qué buena tú estás, you know? And that's what I grew up seeing. So there's a part of me that was very prone to being positive and feeling cute and like wanting to wear the things that typically a little chubby girl like me wouldn't. Because I've been a chubby girl all my life. There were moments where I was thinner, smaller, that I couldn't see it. And then when I got older, I'm like, if I knew then that I would look like this now, I don't think I would have been so hard on myself. But all of even that, like you're saying, looking back, and you're like, but you were a kid and you're growing and you're developing. It's those harsh things that we put in our minds. But then I also had the side of my dad, which bless his heart, people m- show you and meet you as far as they can or where they're at.
Right.
And from what my dad knows or knew, he's a bodybuilder. My dad's a personal trainer.
También.
Right? He's a personal trainer, and his little girl was gordita. And I was 5, and my first experience that really stuck with me and kind of traumatized me about going to a gym was I was 5 years old. And while all my friends and my little sister were having a good time at the pool and playing, my dad brought me over to the gym part. And I didn't have many days with my dad. And this was my, special time with him. And he took me to the gym with a bunch of these bodybuilders, these adults, and put me to exercise. I was 5 and doing jumping jacks. And uh, and that really stuck with me
Yeah.
because it was like it leaves that message of if I don't do this stuff and get thin and keep it, I can't enjoy what the other kids are enjoying. Or because they're thin and because they're smaller, they get to have that enjoyment and I don't. Um, I moved to the States, and there was also that conflicting thing because we're Latina, right? And there's this thing in our culture where it's tienes que estar en a particular shape, a particular size, y eres tan qué cara más linda. That's my favorite. What a beautiful face if you would only lose weight,
Right.
right? That all the best intention, but the biggest backhanded compliment. And my grandparents were always really good about making me feel beautiful and talented and special, but there was always the comment or the push towards but I would come from Santo Domingo and they think I'm starving, so they feed me, and my reward for good things was ice cream, and my reward for sadness was ice cream. Yeah, and candies. My grandfather would bring me candy in his pocket. So there was all this association to food, and our culture is heavily based
Right.
around food. So, it was very conflicting, and I always still had that positive reinforcement from my mom. So it was feeling cute and sexy and saucy, but then also looking at myself in the mirror and not connecting.
No.
And then it became I got to make the joke before anybody else does, right? So I would do the whole make the comment about my size or how heavy I am or my rolls or whatever the case would be to get it out of the way. And it made people feel so uncomfortable, right? And it mainly was because they weren't even thinking about it.
Right. But
They
because it,
weren't going to say, but it's like, so then it gives a different perspective even of me. Here I am trying to change the perspective about my body image, and they're thinking I'm like, this one's got issues because she's like making those comments about herself. So it's double-edged sword, and the thing is, I'm saying those things out loud. I'm hearing them, and I fed that to myself for years, and I believed it for years, and it's still very difficult to erase those kinds of things that you tell yourself about what makes you beautiful or what makes you sexy or desirable or lovable or worthy. Um, and I'm grateful that a lot of that has changed actually in the last couple of months. Yeah, if not the last couple of years, but the last couple of months, it's really been very real to me. But there's those days, like you said. That's what
but
I
it
said.
does get scary, especially let's say when you are in a relationship and someone loves you exactly how you are, but you cannot accept that because you've been conditioned and you put yourself through that, or your friends love you exactly for who you are, but then you're like, how can they love me when I look like this? Or how can they love me when I don't even love myself?
Right.
I grew up a lot getting bullied saying I was too skinny, too thin. And I was like, there's nothing I can do about it. I just came from this. I just landed. I got here to the States from Puerto Rico. Like, what do you mean? I'm 12, 13. ¿Qué tú quieres que yo haga? I am a child. Just because you're not as thin as I am or you are bigger than I am, you can't shame me for my size because you are ashamed of your size too, or you've been put through that. And remember how we talked about how there's also shame in the thin woman
Oh
saying
yeah.
something about, but they don't want to say anything because, but I don't feel good about myself, but I don't want to say anything because she's bigger than I am. So why should I
Right.
complain? But it's still valid. It's very much
Absolutely.
valid.
Absolutely. And that's where we make such a thing, man, about being equal and all of this, and we make conscious choices, I feel, as a society to separate one another, right? Body image is a universal thing.
Right.
We all have an image, an idea of our body. What it differs is what about it, but that we can connect and be respectful and loving to one another, right? And hold that kind of space for one another despite the differences and how we view our image, and without comparing.
Right.
And that took me a minute because when you are feeling shitty about yourself and have that particular image about yourself, hearing somebody else who you admire or love, or like, man, if I look like that, I'd be chilling,
Right.
think negatively about themselves, it's like, God, really? Really? I think you so great. Right? And they're sitting there saying, I think you're so great. But we all have our own standards.
Of course.
Therapist Helen taught me that one. We all have our standards for ourselves,
Of course. Yeah.
right? So to invalidate those things, it is unfair to you in your journey and in your process, and it's unfair to the other person who is trying to be vulnerable about that and
Right.
connect with you on that level.
Just like
Yeah.
how we talked about how this applies to men too.
Oh,
And
I,
and
Not
that
even
in
fair.
their condition that they shouldn't be talking about how they feel insecure because men, that's not how they should feel. They should feel
Tú,
confident.
yeah, tú sigue para adelante, papi. You just keep going. You're the man. You're the this.
Right.
Um, it's really difficult because I've seen the men in my family tend to be very sensitive, and I've always appreciated that, and it really formed the um views that I have on men, right? And giving them a little bit more swing room for to accept that they have the possibility of being sensitive, caring, feeling creatures because we make it like if they're some subspecies that doesn't have these feelings,
Right.
especially when it comes to body image.
They
But
have a
when it
body.
comes to their penises, when it comes to being buff, right? Or you're too skinny, you're too scrawny, or you're too chubby, or losing their hair, whatever they men have their own set of things that really affects how they look. And because they've kind of been conditioned to respond to being ostracized in a
Right.
specific way, then it just then it's like it keeps that stereotype going of them being kind of dicks or,
And
or like attitudey or whatever.
this is for another topic, but that also why depression stems from all of this too. So
Oh, cha. Cha, yes. Shar wrote, I grew up where my mom and aunts were plus size, and between me and my older sisters, my family would say, oh, I was going to blow up just like my mother. And I would think, well, damn, let's not eat so much. Shake my head.
yeah. Oh my God. Me and Sharon went to high school together. So we both were little girls, little people. We so I know how what she said and where she's coming from, and it is scary though. Like to hear that.
I mean, so my profession calls for, we've seen it all. Eating disorders run rampant in both our professions, photography, hello, model. I'm a plus size model, and even amongst plus size models, eating disorders
Oh yeah.
is still very much around. And you grow up with having that fear of like, si comes así, if you eat like that or you do these things, you're gonna be big, or like the negative. Like, I mean, I'm not mad that I look like my mama. I'm not mad at that. But the connotation when they say those
Mm.
kinds of things, it's like that's a negative. You don't want to become that. And it would break my heart when I was teaching at different schools. These little kids are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, or going into puberty, which we all know is the hardest freaking time. You don't know the hell's happening in your body, and on top of
Right.
that, you're being pushed to think about your weight and about makeup and about um a little 7-year-old girl. I see her like picking at her grapes and whatever, and I'm like, you're not hungry? You want a different snack? And no, I'm watching my weight. 7, 7. Um, and I brought it to the attention of the people who run the school, and they were like, what? And it was the parents and their
Yeah.
misguided idea of what needed to happen. And yes, you want your children to be healthy and active, but that's your job. You figure out how you're going to do it without imposing on them the idea that there's something wrong with them.
Right.
um
Yeah. There's a different way to approach
Rough.
that. But if you don't know how to approach it, ask somebody, get help. But
So difficult. I mean, you talked about being bullied. I used to get beat up because I smiled too much, and I'm too fat to be that happy.
how is
That's
it?
that was literally the reason. You're
I
too
used to
fat to
get
be
in
that
fights.
happy.
I used to be the one getting in fights. I was not getting. I was not. Mm-mm, you are not gonna. I know, and this is how I ended up.
Well, that's the thing. I'm very like chill, relaxed, vibey. It got to the point where I got tired of that shit.
Well, that wasn't even. Now I wouldn't even hurt a fly. But I used to get. I used to fight. Mira, I used to be. Well, because it's true. I got bullied. When I first got here with this girl. I don't know. I don't know why she was doing that, but she was, and then. It got to the point where I literally turned around and dragged her down the stairs. Like, stop doing that.
I did not mean to laugh like this,
But it
but
got to the
I'm
point when
great.
you get it gets to the point when you get frustrated. you do, and you do something physical about it, and yeah, it kind of sucks. But guess what? At the end of the day, that person stopped bothering me, and years later, nothing. Like if they were to know who I am now, it's like no, I'm not gonna put my two hands on you. But
Yeah.
it gets to that point where it's like you're being shamed, bullied for something you can't control.
Right.
You can't control how thin you are. You can't control how your body is. Some people are vegan and some people are not. They still are the weight that they are. That has nothing to
Look,
do with it.
look at you, vegan. Look at you,
Right.
vegan. Look at me, vegan. I also just started a couple of months ago, but still,
No,
and it doesn't have anything to do. What is
humans.
humans? Like, cause I just
I
the
know.
incense done burn me. Um, what would you hear a lot as a kid as being the kind of like the measure
Mm.
for beauty?
Well, growing up in Puerto Rico as the whitest family in the block, because I'm not mixed looking.
Right.
Ah, pero ¿de quién son esos ojos? Who are those eyes from? Your dad has dark eyes. Ah, you must be, you need to have the mixed complexion y que sé yo qué cosa. And I'm like, either way, you're still a child at 5 years old. What the hell? What do you mean? And I had really like blonde hair at the time. And
Okay.
everybody had the dark hair. And then they're like, no, de que las rubias. And, it was always towards my side, obviously, like that I was like the stereotype of what we like, the European look and que sé yo qué cosa. So yeah, I did grow up listening to that and hearing that, but I never got to the point where like I want to look like that.
Right.
Great, I'm glad for that because
Yeah.
es otra cosa. What about you?
I don't know. I watched a lot of novelas. My cousins, my whole family was into the arts, singing, so there was a lot of emphasis put on like, oh, my cousins are doing a singing or the shows or whatever. They were working out heavy. They were on a diet. Everybody was always on a damn diet. But in the novelas, those are the examples of the women. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be on stage. I wanted to be on film. And what you see represented is a very particular look, the thin body, the big boobs, you know, um, and for a long time the stereotype that the big girl was only the sidekick, the friend,
Right,
right? The funny friend, the cute friend.
but she could
Um,
never be the lead.
uh, hello.
You know who you remind? You know what you just triggered, like a memory. ¿Te recuerdas Marimar, like Talia,
Maddie, Matt.
when she used to be the lead actress of everything? Era una cosita así.
Yeah, yeah,
That was like, pero ella también tenía pelo. Like her hair was dark, and all the novelas we used to watch when we were kids at that time were like all of them had dark hair, los labios
yeah,
grandes, and they were like cositas así. So
yeah.
yeah, I
And so
remember
like
those.
I grew up with that, but my I again having that balance of my mom,
Mm-hmm.
like not look like that y creerse y saberse lo buena que está, like that she looked good, would slap me back into reality. So I recently got what I took as a compliment uh, from one of my aunts that growing up, something that she always found interesting about me was despite the fact that she knew that I had these issues about how I viewed myself, I always dressed sexy or tight, right? And that was odd to her because in her being larger, she would wear baggy and whatever to hide herself. Um, and so a lot of people would see me and would probably not think that I have the body image issues that I do,
Very
especially when I started getting into modeling. Nobody would have thought. Uh, I like being on stage. I like being the center of mother love and attention. I do.
It's
You would
funny.
not, you would not think que me da esa pena. And you know, you were saying earlier, and this really struck a chord with me, really resonated with me about, you know, having a partner, having people in your life that love you and that see and love you for you because they see you, they know what it is.
Right.
Um, and still feeling that need to hide. Like I that's very real
Mm-hmm.
for me, you know, and to be in here's the bus, here goes Vanessa. Here's the bus. We know that this is what I do. I'm
Your
getting
final
real.
statement.
There's 100%. We said serious vulnerable talk. It's coming real at you guys. You know, it's really difficult and to be in moments of intimacy with someone that you love profoundly and know that they accept you and love you as you are and still feel the need to hide
Right.
because then you're not entirely present.
You're
Aren't
right
you
here.
know? Yeah, there's always a part of you that's not there. So you can try everything else. Like God knows I did try everything else to want to be present and be in the space because I want. And then there was always that one thing that would, you know, trigger. And if I would get looked at too long, and I'm talking about clothes, I'm not even talking about naked. That's another story. But like to get looked at for too long, right, would put me in a space of being, feeling too seen, and I would shut down. I remember I did Real Women Have Curves at Main Street Players, and it gave me the opportunity to do that show 10 years after I'd originally done it. And I felt better about my body 10 years before it, felt less great about it 10 years later. I was heavier. I was playing a character that was about 20, 30 years my senior, in a cast of women that I found to be absolutely stunning and with gorgeous bodies. And there's a scene where we all have to take off our clothes.
Oh, I remember.
And I had a wonderful director, Tatiana Marie Carlo, uh, that, you know, slowly worked up to that moment of us feeling comfortable. And we all had our different, it was beautiful to be able to connect with these women in that we all had our thing and we all held hands and were able to be there. I got physically sick in feeling that somebody was seeing me and that I would disgust them. But I was disgusting myself. Nobody else was seeing what I was seeing or
Right.
feeling that. The things we tell ourselves and that we believe. And I had to go and I felt physically ill. And that's how I would feel sometimes in moments of intimacy. And that's really sad. And I'm really glad that I'm going through that. And I think a lot of what has helped is not just the people in my life, but also, like you were saying, the representation. We're starting to see, and there's that collective consciousness about being accepting.
And
Um, Go ahead.
and what I also think is that obviously that throughout the years we make ourselves like our mental health plays a huge part on that too, on our weight, like BNA va and up and down and whatever. Do you remember 7 years ago when I first met you on stage, and then the second time we did a photo shoot, you're like, oh, you met me heavier. Literally, I wasn't thinking about it. I didn't care about
I
that.
remember you told me that. I remember you told me that because you'd said uh, about the play, and then even later when we did the second photo shoot, I said it again.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't care. I still want to shoot you. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Like to
Because you had
me,
mentioned about a bathing suit. And I was like, oh yeah, I've lost weight, so it's good. And you're like,
right. And I was like,
okay.
and I get it. It also depends on you if you feel that confident to do it, because it's up to you at the end of the day. But I was like, I'm not thinking about that. You're still gorgeous to me. Let's fucking do it. Let's go. And that's why for my photography, like you mentioned earlier, like yeah, it is other women I photographed, and to me, every woman, every human being is real person to me. It's not about a real woman. But I just never photographed or photoshopped any of the
Ever.
women I photographed. Why? Because that is who they are. Their true nature. They're who they are. Why would I
You
want
remember the heart attack that gave me when you told me that?
to? I remember that picture
I
with
had
the,
been used to working with photographers that airbrushed the shit out of you. And I go to do a photo shoot, my first actual photo shoot in a bathing suit, right? I did pin up. I'd done a bunch of things, but it was always very covered up in some way or another in a bathing suit. And I was like, well, no, this doesn't look so great. Whatever, you can always Photoshop it. I don't Photoshop. And I didn't remember that from our first photo shoot. I had assumed that you had retouched it. No, she just that good. It made me look real good.
No, my goal was to always use the settings of the camera and the natural lighting. Thank you, Carlos, for being the lighting guy. But in nature, remember when you went to the one goddamn picture, you estabas zooming into that one particular place? I'm like, well, I don't know what you're seeing. I didn't see that. You're seeing it, but I don't see that. But that's the things that stay in our mind when we are looking at ourselves. Like for me, it's always my stomach. Always, it's always gonna be my stomach. But we look at that and we're like, and I'm over here like, this picture's amazing. You're like, espérate, zoom in, and I'm like,
I'm guilty of like I've started to stray away from that. And I because I also started to like I'll still do it. Like I'll wear something and I'm like, my bracito, I'm not loving it. But I used to deny myself going to the beach, going
mm,
to a pool. Fuck that.
there you go. And now you go and guess what? You love it. ¿Qué
That,
importa?
o sea, you're gonna have your moment where you're like, "Ugh, do it
Right.
anyway. Damn it. If people don't like, they don't gotta look.
Y ya,
Nowadays, we compare ourselves to pics. We see the beautiful Eloise. Oh, that's right. We got videos to show.
we will. We got
Okay, I
to.
put my brain. Nowadays, we compare ourselves to pics we see online, which are photoshopped and filtered to death. Yes, I love this new trend, by the way, of um of women and men, right, showing on Instagram, and they're like, ah, right,
And
off
they're
Instagram.
natural.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there was a time that I really enjoyed that too, like posting pictures of me without makeup. I think I'm gonna go back to that because
I never have makeup on. So you guys know I'm 100% no makeup. I don't care how I look. My hair is always like whatever. But people have come to me and told me that, ah, why don't you brush your hair? Or why don't you wear makeup? And I'm like, because I don't want to. I don't have to. For who? When I do, it's because for me. And that gets on my nerves and it does irritate me a little to the point where I'm like, can you go fuck yourself? Like, do you have a problem with the way I look without my bare face? Then that's your problem. But obviously it's easier said than done because sometimes I feel like, oh my god, should I? Oh wait, no. And then you're like, nah, fuck it. You don't care about that. You don't care about any of that.
but here's the thing. Here's why it kills me. It kills me because I go back to that whole separation thing,
Mm,
right? We make it sound like there's such different problems, but look at what we create for ourselves as a society, right? With the body image, with discriminating because of color, because of religion, because of whatever. We talk about it as though they're different things. But in creating these standards, which who the hell made those rules to begin with?
right.
Okay. In creating these standards, we have a bunch of people walking around having to having this extra journey. Life is hard enough as it is. And here we have these extra journeys of the journey to body positive, the journey to like dealing with unresolved traumas and all of these things. And because on top of that, we have to deal with it because other people aren't willing to be tolerant or be patient or be kind.
Right.
Right. So we have all of these things. We're loud in our head. There's noise outside telling us what we should be, need to be. Right. And then and it's not just voices from people that you don't know. It's the voices from the people that you know most, because why? That's what they were fed. And so that whole cycle, and
This
we
is
and we
why
do this to each other.
this is why my suggestion would be in social media at least to go to your social media, see who the hell you're following, and if a moment or whoever it is they're making you feel otherwise, block, unfollow. You don't need to see that because that's a constant reminder. You don't need that. Follow people that make you feel good about yourself, that are ¿cómo se dice? Providing something other than shame and like otherness. Like I'm better than you. Just
Perpetuating that shame.
yeah,
Yeah.
just delete, and look. That's why I do not. If I feel like I'm looking at this picture, I'm like, ah, damn, esta tiene esto, esto, y esto. Delete, because now you have it here. You have it in your mind, and it's not doing any good for you. Social media is a cancer, toxic.
It can be your best friend and it can be your worst enemy.
Yes. So
But we have it in our hands.
right,
I told you about this yesterday, I think. So Levi Lucas, right, from I think his website now is called Polyamory Geek, right? Go check him out. He's got a new website going up. Uh, had written a blog post that really spoke to me about
Mhm.
perceptions of body image, and it had triggered me in such a way because he talked about fat phobia, and it triggered me hard. And then when I continued reading and tried to, like, instead of being reactive, which we talked about, we talked about in various episodes, tone down the reactivity, take a moment, take a pause, take a breath,
Right.
do a little bit of this, but you and go back at it. And so, like, I tried to reread the article, and it was about how he realized that this concept of beauty and this phobia, or this concept of what it meant to be fat, um was so dumb. And he said it just like that, dumb, or like, or misguided, right, or misinformed. And his approach was to feed himself new information. So if what he was ingesting, and we're talking about obviously visuals, was um the thin models and the this and the that, or the stereotypical concept, or the socially accepted definition of beauty, that's what he was feeding himself. He fed himself the opposite, right? These beautiful
Yeah,
plus
you're
size
refining
women,
your mind.
the plus size women, or you know uh, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try that because I'm feeling pretty crappy about myself and judging myself pretty harshly. It's really funny what we will find beautiful. I
Right.
will find beautiful in another human being, right? The scars, the this, the that, and not see it in myself. I
That's
started to look at women that looked similar to me and how good they felt. And on the days that they didn't feel good, that they accepted it and moved the hell on. And man, it really made a difference.
Remember how we said we can't dwell on something if it's not helping you grow?
Bing.
And that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like
Don't stay there.
we always say it, but it's true. You have to love yourself first. But you have to love yourself first. We see it on other people because that's what we want for ourselves, but we have to start with us.
Yeah.
I know it sounds cliche, people. We know, but it's
Yeah.
true.
But
It's a
also,
true.
like, it's absolutely true. And also, like, I do believe that when you are loved well and loved right by the people around you, right? When your relationships hold up that mirror, right? And I'm not talking about the mirror of like the things that are bad in you. They hold up a mirror of how they see you, right? We always have that desire for people to see themselves the way we see them. And the only way we can really do that is by treating them the way we see them, and keep showing them that you love them. That really helps you to love yourself a little more, because nobody chooses you for shits and giggles. They choose
Right.
you because what they're saying is genuine. And if you expect for someone to believe that about you, like, I'm here because I want to, because I choose you, because I love you, then you have to be willing to accept it. And that was a trabajito for me. Pero aquí estamos.
Remember what we say, baby steps still lead you forward.
Hashtag baby steps.
Baby steps. Talking about that, we have two people, two beautiful humans that we need to hear their input because it's
Yeah.
getting to that time. So tell me a little bit about Jessica because you're the one
Oh,
that
yeah.
introduced me to her.
I'm really excited to talk about these people.
Yeah, I
So
have the video so I could.
perfect. Jessica Sanford and I went to New World School of the Arts together. We graduated in the same class. And from the moment I met Jess, just a glowing, beautiful human being, glowing inside out, outside in, and incredible voice. God, she sings like an angel. She dances amazing. She's a brilliant actress, very hardworking, very dedicated, hustler to the max. And is not just an amazing performer, but she's an amazing human being. And she's what I would consider one of those body types that is like the ideal flaca, bella, beautiful. But she herself has always been on that kind of journey. And she's really great about sharing her fitness journey and her positivity journey. And on the days that she feels not so great, and helping other people remember that there's going to be those days, but you got to love you and you got to push forward. And she's a great inspiration to me. And I don't think she even knows it. Every time I see her perform, I feel like the pride of a mother. And it could be a comedy, and she makes me cry just because I'm so proud to know somebody like Jess.
Remember what we were saying earlier about how, like, I think you're beautiful, and yeah, I told you that 10,000 times.
You
Pero
fix it.
that's still not gonna fix the way you feel about yourself. Well, not fix, because there's nothing wrong with you in my eyes, but that's not gonna make you feel better.
Right.
So when we say that, oh, you're fine, you're dismissing, invalidating
Yeah.
those people's, and I hate that. Like, that has gotten under my skin lately, because it's like, yeah, thank you for invalidating how I feel just because I look the way that I do, but I still feel it. There's nothing wrong with feeling, but I'm just sharing that with you. You're talking to the wrong person if that's how it make you feel. So
And it's also, it's part of that journey. Like, we all need the different voices. Speak in the
right,
language of the listener. My mom always says it. If a plus size woman, a thinner person may not be able to relate to my stories, they'll relate to the issues and the feelings. But Jessica's story is equally as valid, equally as important, because somebody can relate to it and it
right.
hits their journey. Right? We're all here to help each other. What the walk home? Therapist Helen, put it in the comments. We're all here to walk each other home.
So let's listen to her story. So here we go.
Hi, No Filters, No Fears podcast. What a great name. And hi, Vanessa. And co host Chubby, who I've never met. Hi, Chubby. I was going to send a voice memo because I said to Vanessa, do I have to put my face on for a video? But you know what? Your podcast is called No Filter, No Fear. So I'm not putting any filter on my face. Here she is. And no fears. She also said a minute, which leaves me 30 more seconds. Body image has been a real struggle for me, and it continues to be. And I work out. I've been working out like all of quarantine. And I'll be honest, I haven't seen a lot of change, and that's been frustrating. Health-wise, my heart is really great. My stamina is great, but as far as like the cosmetic parts of it that I wanted, they're not coming as easily. And I think that's because I also love bread. I'm Italian, so I love bread and pasta. So I think there's a balance to find with exercising often, but also being honest with yourself and giving yourself the things that it wants. I mean, overindulgence is never good. I shouldn't have an entire pizza because that's not good. But if I want to have 2 slices, I should be able to have them. But with that comes the change in my body afterwards. I worked out for 18 weeks, and then I had a week of taking off with pizza and beer and living my best life. And I'll tell you what, Monday looked like I didn't work out for the past 18 weeks, and that was very frustrating. But that's the whole thing. You got to be okay with every part of the journey, and it doesn't always look pretty, but we have to be our own team, which is hard to do, and that's what I'm struggling to do, but it is something I work towards every day. So if you are struggling at all, you're not alone. And it doesn't matter your body type. We're all struggling. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for having me. Bye.
And I'm crying again.
It's okay. You guys could find her at
Therapy Thursdays? Therapy Thursdays?
Therapy Thursday open mic. But you know what she was just reminding me of? Intuitive eating. Eat when you feel like your body's telling you because your body knows best. I'm not no nutritionist, but I feel personally that intuitive eating will be less stressful because if you deprive your body of this one donut that's not really going to harm you, and it's going to become worse because then that feeling and then you're stressing your body more. That's how I feel.
Let me tell you, all this Vanessa being feeling better about herself and all this crap, not crap,
You or her?
me.
Oh, yes.
All of this started because like I decided I was like, I can't do the diet thing no more. I lied to myself every time. And I want to do it, right? This part knows it wants to do it, but it also says, I don't want to starve. And I wanted to, and so, and I'm like, and I'm tired of trying to trick myself and cheat myself. I'm like, I got to do what's real. So I got really into the vegan thing and I just liked how it made me feel. And I liked cooking and being colorful. And if I wanted to eat something, I was going to eat it. And, and I have lost some weight, maybe not as much as I would want to, but I feel better. And I would prefer that and my health and longevity over obsessing and feeling like I fail myself every time I do something that doesn't fit within the scheme of a diet or whatever, because I was feeling really the emotional and mental stress I was putting on myself about that was so much worse than whatever I was doing in my body.
And you know what also people tend to forget? Your body will fluctuate throughout the day. You may start this way, but because you had water, this, and this, by the time you look at yourself at the end of the night, you're going to look different. That doesn't mean you just gained 20 pounds. It's just that your body fluctuates. There's food in there, there's water, there's liquids. And you can't put yourself in that mentality where, like, adios me, and I'll have to go exercise before I go to sleep. Yeah. There's a bad connotation with dieting. That word itself is like, oh, you're dieting, you're starving yourself. Listen.
It's a lifestyle. I can't say diet no more.
Right. Like I look at what I love about living alone or being on my own is that when I go to the fridge, whatever's in that fridge, whatever I eat from it, I know that it will benefit me because it's things that I want, that are healthy to me. Especially being, lactose intolerant and being allergic to certain things and not being able to eat certain things, and I don't eat meat either, so whatever I go in there and eat it, guess what, it's benefiting me. But other people that live with other people, and you have a household, you live with a family, guess what, there's food in there that might want to tempt you when you know for sure they're bad for you. And I mean bad as in they will make you sick. Like if right now I eat a steak, I will feel violently ill because I don't eat meat. Yeah. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, I'm like we've talked about, I'm not 100% vegan like every day of my life. Right, like right now, the last couple of days because my birthday, I went off the bandwagon when it came to like milk and cheese and like eggs. But for like when it comes to red meat and things like that, I haven't gone there. But if I were to eat like pork, we all know I get sick with pork. Well, now we all know. Now you know. But I know that there's certain things that just don't no cae bien conmigo. So if I'm gonna eat it, I'm eating it knowing full well that there's repercussions.
But guess what? There's nothing wrong with eating something else that's out of your norm. It's fine. Now, if you're going to beat yourself up about it, you're already making that into your mind that, oh my God, this is bad. I already put, and you can't live like that.
Yep.
You have to know that this is fine. One day you eat this, and then the next day you just eat whatever you want to, what you normally eat. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like Peter says, a lifestyle 100%. Listen, this whole dieting thing, just eat whatever feels good to you. I'm just saying. I don't know anything about nutrition. Listen, we're not therapists here. We're no nutritionists.
Not therapists and we're not nutritionists. That's the new one. We're not nutritionists.
But I'm just saying, you can't put yourself in that agonizing pain of like, I can't eat this because then, I'm mistreating myself. If I want to eat a whole box of pizza today and then eat healthy for the next 6, 7, 8 days, that's fine.
That's you, boo-boo.
There you go. But I know, like you said, the consequences. But I enjoy the pizza and I'm happy. And now your mental state is not like being, como se dice, like forced into this box of you can't do that. You know? It's
I feel like
liberating.
I feel like there's a difference, right? Because I can understand, uh, like if you see somebody that you care about going down a certain path that is unhealthy for them,
Yeah,
that it's a sensitive topic to bring up without hurting them or making them think that there's something wrong with them. When all it is that you're concerned for their health.
right. That's a different story.
Because I'm a big girl. I'm not concerned for other big for other big girls because they're big. I'm concerned like if I see somebody clearly having health issues, like I was just in the hospital because my diabetes is out of control. Those kinds of things,
Right,
right? That's what you want to fix and feel concerned for. But unless you're a medical professional, you have no basis to tell anybody what to stick in their mouth
right, exactly.
or how to take care of their body. You can have, if you're diabetic and your friends are diabetic and they're having issues, you can have suggestions, you can point them in the right direction. But to do it in a way that can cause them now extra emotional, right, or mental stress is unfair, because mental and emotional stress, people have different responses to it. For me, it is to eat.
Right,
I get certain pressures and it makes me want to eat, to hide. That's my protective thing, right?
right,
So you could be making it worse. Your job is to be a support, right? If we're talking
right,
about our purposes or our roles in people's lives, is to be a support, not to be an added um issue.
right. Let's read Sharon and then our last voice note before we call it a night.
Team.
You want to read Sharon's or?
Oh, okay. I'm learning my body and body type, and I've been feeling better about myself these days because I don't set up unrealistic goals anymore. That is awesome.
And there you go.
Get it.
There
Get it.
you go. See, beautiful. You're learning about yourself. Remember what I told you yesterday? That you need to learn about yourself first and what you like and what's good for you and what's healthy for you and what you know you could intake. Yeah, that's a beautiful step to getting somewhere.
For me, that's all about. I love what she said about learning my body type and feeling good about it.
Exactly.
For me, I put a lot of bottles. I stop myself a lot from wearing certain things because I feel in the role in this. I used to every day of my life wear a faja, which is a girdle, I guess, right? A
Yeah.
body shaper every day of my life, a body shaper. It was rare that you would catch me, and I still wear it because it's actually now it's just part of my comfort. It's also helpful for my posture, and it makes me feel nice. I like wearing it. But when I don't feel like wearing it, I don't put it on anymore.
Right.
And se me va a ver el chichito, and it's just something I gotta deal with, right? I'm trying to build a monster. Get it, Peter. Build your monster for
When you
you.
see him,
I
picture.
see the arms. I see the arms. But I also want to get to a place where I'm like, I can wear this and feel good and sexy and confident and not like I'm breaking a rule because
Right.
somebody like me shouldn't wear this or
Right.
that.
Like, but what is that? Shouldn't. Oh, the
Yeah,
words.
but you really do believe it and you really do feel it.
No, claro.
And you can see somebody else wear it because I see all these. I follow a lot of plus size models. I am a huge fan of Letitia Thompson and that the girl that we posted, Diana Soraki, right? All these amazing, gorgeous plus size models. They don't give a shit. They wear what they're gonna wear. Y se ve lo que se ve, and they don't care. And I can see it and be like, yes, girl, you better rock it. I wear it and I cringe. And I don't want to do that no more. Because I look
No.
cute. I look cute in some of those things.
Go back to how you feel that day of the photo shoot with me. Go back to that day.
No, because then I'm walking around with my titties out, Chubby.
Well, that's another topic. Why is that unacceptable and men can walk around? No. Go, well,
Free
don't-
the nipple.
that's another topic. That just,
See, the topics just keep mounting. So on that, I love how the segue to you, Eloisa, is the nipple.
Yeah. I think she's gorgeous, but obviously this is me again dismissing how she feels. But
Right.
can't help
Isn't that
myself.
crazy?
Yeah.
It's really difficult. That's why it was difficult for me to take compliments for a long time. We've talked about the difficulty in compliments, right? Because especially when it comes from somebody that you're like, oh my God, but you're so beautiful. How do I say it back now without it seeming like I'm just trying to be nice? It's Eloisa is stunning.
Mm.
It's stunning, right?
You know what? Just before we start with her, we were talking about compliments. I think was it you? I don't know what the hell I was talking about compliments. And my thing about compliments is compliment someone on something that they can control. Don't compliment on something that they cannot. Like, oh, you have beautiful eyes. Thank you. I was born with them. You know what I'm trying to say?
But if they're beautiful, they're beautiful. You can say they got
No,
beautiful.
no, no. That doesn't negate the fact that they are. It's just that I feel like that's an escape, like a way of you just getting away from an actual, real, truthful, meaningful compliment.
I feel you. I the game we've always talked. I've talked about it a lot. Therapist Helen gave me this game. We're not really strangers. One of the questions is, uh, give me a compliment that you don't think I receive often, right? And a compliment that I got that I really loved. Despite all my body issues and body wear, I have been very privileged and fortunate, and I am grateful. I do not disvalue. I don't even know if that's a word. This at all. I've been very fortunate that I've gotten roles that typically would not be given to a plus size woman, and also that I have been treated by partners, by friends, by society ways that typically I've seen other big girls not treated as nicely, and I've been always told that I'm beautiful, and I really appreciate that. But you hear it so often, you're like, is that all I am? A pretty face, right? Is
Right.
all I am is the big ass, the titties, right? The compliment was, you're so intelligent. Those kinds of compliments, the compliments that you don't think that that person may hear often. Because if you got pretty eyes, you hearing every day you got pretty eyes.
Right.
You're hearing every day, oh, I love your piercings. I love your this, right? Whatever the case may be, love your, but when you can compliment somebody's talent, somebody's kindness, somebody's, I love when somebody appreciates my authenticity or my being genuine, because those are things that I take a lot of pride in, that when they get seen and appreciated and acknowledged, it's like, I like you, man.
That goes the same for me. I got a compliment on my looks my entire life. That give me something
Yeah.
new, please. But when I have gotten compliments on my work, on my photography, it's been hard for me to take it. I'm like, I think I'm mediocre, and I don't think there's anything good about it. I just shoot. You're right.
My eyes said what I feel. That's it.
And I understand that. And there's certain times that I look at my foot, I'm like, I took that. You see,
Artists, we're all our own
Our
worst
worst
critics. We're
critic.
sensitive about our shit.
Right, and that is a true. But I appreciate those people that truly have said it, not because they were my friends or because they truly meant it. And it's just, what can you do? You just accept it. Now you gotta move on. Thank you. You know how to pronounce it.
Eloisa. When I asked her to send over this voice note and stuff, I asked it because this is a person that I've seen. I follow, like, we've known each other. We know each other in person. We've known each other for a really long time. But I've seen her in a professional setting. I've seen her in a private setting, like amistades, and she exudes confidence and this air of strength. Yay. Um, and I've seen her go through this journey right now through the pandemic and whatnot. And she has her own podcast as well, The Bigger the Hoop. Uh, a- and, she has a strong opinion, a strong voice, and she's an intelligent ass woman, right? Just got her master's. You better get it.
Yeah, there we go.
Um, but also just she's very aware of other people, other sensitivities, and she's very kind and genuine. And I see her being so strong and beautiful, and no matter what size she is, she went into being healthier and all of these things, but she did it for her and for her need to be healthier and feel good with herself. And she carries herself with such, you're a badass bitch.
And that's what matters, that she did it for herself. So here we go. This is what she has to say.
Hi Hi guys, I'm Eloisa. I'm an arts administrator here in Miami, Florida, and I have been asked by the lovely Vanessa to define what body positivity is to me. And it's a very hard question to answer because it's not like there's one set definition. I think that everybody's experiences kind of define body positivity in their own way. You know, not everybody has the same definition of body positivity. For me, what it means is looking in the mirror and just being content and satisfied with the reflection. That's pretty much it. It sounds simple, but I know it isn't because it took me years to get to this point. Um, Being happy with who you are, how you look, how big, how small you are, regardless of, outside opinions, right? So it's hard to achieve, but once you achieve that idea of body positivity and being happy with your own skin, you're unstoppable, right? So, yeah, I hope you guys all get to discover this someday if you haven't already.
Isn't that interesting? Oh, I'm gonna cry now. Like to
What?
look at yourself in the mirror and genuinely be like, damn, I love that person there. I love how I look. But
Oh,
yes,
don't
to
make me,
have that in your mind, that's the hardest part to overcome.
don't do it. Don't make me cry, sweetie.
But we are gonna cry now. But
But
that is
it's
the
true.
hardest.
It's true.
It's the hardest. Like no matter how freaking good other people compliment you and how good you think you look, you still gonna look at yourself and be like, esto, this, that, ooh, and it's never gonna be. You're never gonna be satisfied because you have to start from here.
Yeah. You know what? You just gave us all homework, Chubi. And Eloisa, this started with you.
I've
I think
started.
our homework for the next month, and I promise to do this. I'm gonna post it, so it's proof. We should all look in the mirror every day, and besides the one eye good, because if repetition is key, and we learn things from repeating it, right, and experience, you got to do it. One good I love you into the mirror to yourself, really seeing yourself, not like just looking at your eyeballs in the mirror. Look at yourself. One good I love you, and something that you appreciate about yourself.
I'm gonna cry. Nope.
That I haven't. I had done it. I was started dancing in the mirror, but I wasn't really paying attention to certain things. But I maybe if I start doing this, maybe it'll be easier. Maybe if we all do it, it'll be a little easier. If not even on ourselves, in someone else. To see something beautiful in someone else is just as important because it
That
starts
is
changing our perspective about beauty.
I don't know if you guys remember that post. It goes off of what you said. The post about Amy Poehler that I posted, that
Yeah.
she was saying, go around your body and thank it for giving it, your body and kind of thank it for what it gives you and thank yourself for your great eyesight or your thick hair, or your nice legs or your strong teeth. Or whatever it is that you have that you were given, and make friends with those parts of your body and try to focus on the parts that will never change. So
Yeah.
that's basically what you're suggesting, to go to that mirror and be like, I love that.
Yeah.
It's just
And we're gonna
an
do that for the whole month of November because October is almost over, so that doesn't count.
easier said than done. It is.
And
But guess what? If you
I
want
got a
to love yourself a little bit more, you
I
got
got a
to.
little something for you.
Oh God, what is it?
No, it's for everybody.
Oh, because I'm like, am I gonna cry? Because I don't
I might cry reading it.
know. Okay,
Dear body, I'm sorry for the hurtful things I've said. You are always, see, it started.
we already started.
You are always there, protecting and nourishing me. I'm sorry for all the times I judged you, how I've always tried to change or alter you rather than understand and respect you. I'm sorry for punishing you, even though all you wanted was to be fed. Ay, coño, apagué el teléfono. Hold on.
Always commenting between something.
Ah, technology. I hate you.
Mm.
What was fed and healthy. Dear body, thank you for loving me even when I didn't love you back. I promise that from today on, I will listen and act with love and nourish you because I love and respect you. Dear body, Thank you.
Hashtag I love that November. Thanks to Helen.
Yep.
What are we gonna name it?
Yep.
Right along with that poem. You need to post that. Post it on our page.
I will. I will. I will. It's funny because a lot of those things, therapist Helen had planted that seed of how that's where in this body came from for me. Because Helen had talked to me about, like, appreciate your body. You got the legs that walk you around, you got the this, you got the that. And I was
You
like,
got the hands.
okay, yeah, you're right, you're right. And it's hard to see it that way sometimes.
It is
But
because we're
yeah, the body that I have criticized so much of myself has given me so much of what I love and am grateful for. So we're gonna do a lot of this for the month of November.
and reading some nice quotes too.
Yeah, do it. Reading is essential.
Let's see. Peter says that, well, you have to remember something. For someone to compliment something more than the appearance of a person, should they first know you more? Will it be hard for a stranger to compliment or something more when they have nothing but your looks to compliment you first?
I feel you, Peter. I understand.
I
However, I've gotten compliments from strangers about politeness, right? Right? There's nothing wrong with complimenting, the physical,
don't
but
know.
even from a stranger, what's your interaction with them? You're not just standing there, right? You can see their gestures or whatever. I've gotten gestures. I'm like, you're so, what was it? Graceful, which I don't think I am. I'm a total klutz. But my one of my dance teachers told one of my acting teachers told me in dance, you're so grateful. They're graceful. So those are the kind. It teaches us to be more observant beyond just what you see,
Exactly.
right? We can be so harsh to ourselves, but we can also be our best healers. Oh, that is so beautiful if we work on it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is a freaking waterworks. What's wrong with you people? Keep it to yourself. I'm not
I
kidding.
mean, I today I created the new hashtag, right? On that post that you put today about I told my body I want to be your friend, and it hurt, right? And the hashtag was connecting is healing.
Yeah.
It is. And it's not just connecting to another person. Absolutely, that there's a lot of healing in that, but connecting to yourself. Sometimes we're not in touch with ourselves whatsoever. I know I try to ignore my own voice and my own thing a lot, and it's what allowed me to stay in negative spaces, especially when it came to my self talk.
Yeah.
And, so connect.
Like we said, people don't know about themselves. They truly do not know what triggers them. They just exist, just there. But they're not getting to
And we
know.
don't hold ourselves accountable.
Exactly.
Accountability? What's that?
You
Oh,
want to read what Helen says?
it isn't what you have or who you are or where you are or what you are doing that makes you happy or unhappy. It is what you think about it. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's a book.
Y'all wanna make me cry? Okay. Peter says, well, once the interaction ends, it's easier. Society nowadays use complimenting drive-by nowadays. They approach people with a compliment. A lot of what I see and experiencing nowadays. Catcalls? I don't know.
Cat calls? No, I can understand you, Peter. I feel you.
Yeah, no, I
But
understand.
at the it's our work to figure out how to change that, right?
Right.
That it's not just a drive-by compliment. That you know, I mean, I've gotten a compliment for a nice smile, which is a nice compliment, and it's a physical thing because it's a drive-by situation. But if you're able to see somebody in the midst of something, if you really are observing the world around you and you're aware, you're not in your own bubble, you're not in your, it's just me, right? Which
Right.
is a lot about what's happening in the world right now, right? We've been living in that bubble, and hopefully the collective consciousness is still going, and we're looking outside of ourselves, and you see people doing for one another. Like, I got a compliment once from somebody I did not hold the door for. I held the door for an older lady, and somebody came behind me and goes, "That was so nice." And then they went and held the door for someone else.
Oh, I love that. I love when the ripple effect. What is it called? Like when you do
Paying
something.
it forward. right?
Well,
It's
yeah,
an
that too. Yeah, when you see somebody doing something, then you want to go do it.
the ripple effect, yeah. So, but it was so nice for them. Like, I didn't do it for the acknowledgement of a person, but they didn't compliment, and I look cute that day. They didn't compliment the outfit. They didn't compliment the hair. They didn't compliment the things that I typically might get complimented on. They complimented the gesture, right? So if we're more aware of what people are doing outside of just what we see on their face or on their body, right? The Gucci purse, if we're seeing people, you see so much more than just the pretty eyes, the nice butt, whatever the case may be. So
Hey,
I feel you, Peter. I feel you.
I
But
com- I complimented somebody once on their aura,
on their what?
their energy.
Oh, yes. That's my favorite compliment to give because you can feel somebody's vibe.
But you literally can, and it's so like when it's heavy, and you're like, damn, and you're like getting like attracted to that, and you're like,
I have complimented somebody on their vibe and I wasn't even vibing with them. They were in another table, but they had their people there and they were vibing and they were in it. And I was like, you are so chill. And they're like, thank you. That's that plur magic. That's how
right.
you start to recognize, because at those festivals, you don't know anybody, right? And you see people just trickling this way, trickling that way, giving each other compliments and saying hello and giving each other gifts.
And that goes back to the whole body image thing. Like, what if we just minded our own business, compliment good things, and just be happy and just mind your own business. If you don't like something, move it along, but don't, give that negativity out because now everybody feels it, and it's like,
Build each other up instead of tear each other down.
right. Wouldn't you think that the work would go a little bit faster? I mean, nicer at least. Maybe it's a utopian type of dream, but
I mean, there always has to be that balance. I feel like an
no,
actual utopia, I think is like but the balance of you can't appreciate the good without the bad
not
happening.
the bad.
But it doesn't have to go to those extremes of making somebody feel ashamed of themselves or making somebody uh feel unworthy, right? Or making ourselves feel that way because sometimes we do it to our damn selves.
Mm,
Well, hurt people, they say. Hurt
yeah,
people, they do. But is that hurt person's right? That's where accountability comes in.
right. You have to hold yourself accountable for how you
Like
treat.
you've been hurt and you know that you have that ability to cause certain hurts. Don't do it. Like I know my hurt thing is I go into tiger mode. I get mean. I can get scary as shit. I don't want to be that person. That's not the person that I wish to be. When we
Right.
become aware, we break that pattern. Ding. I don't want to be
Exactly.
that person. Then don't be that damn person. Don't say, but that's just how I am. Thank you. I'm glad you rolled your ass. That shit drives me crazy.
We heard that so many times, and I'm like, are you sure you're just not, deep down being a dick because you don't know how to handle what's.
We are how we are, but at the same time, there's things that we can do shit about.
Oh yeah, the way
Right?
you react.
So if I know I'm Tiger Lady and I can get scary and mean and nasty and kind of gaslighty, right? Then I'm not gonna say that's just how I am when I'm angry. No, to fix it,
Those are the times that you need to.
correct it, not fix it, correct it.
Those are the times that you need to sit there and before you react, reflect a little bit. Wait, how am I going to respond to this? I know, and not everybody has their time to do that and be like whatever they're reactive right away. But damn, now you just created something bigger and for no reason.
It's a journey. It's a journey. Here we go. We're trekking along, and we're gonna say "I love you" in the mirror, or they blame it on their zodiac sign.
I'm an Aquarius. Yeah.
It's just because I'm a Libra. I'm indecisive. I have said this. But if you know that the thing is when you acknowledge things about yourself and you know what the hell it is, then you have that same ability to like change it if you
Right.
really consider it to be a flaw, right? Don't just leave it there like, oh, it is what it is and whatever. Ooh.
So, guys, I have something in mind. Before we leave, tell us one thing that you love about yourself right now.
I love it. C, write it.
Write it. What do you love about yourself right now?
And
That, I mean, it could be whatever. It don't matter.
yeah, and as you're writing it, I wanted to say also, talk about this with you. There's a difference between acceptance, right? And and settling with, they're like, I try so hard to fix it, to lose weight. You can still make those improvements. There's nothing wrong with wanting to improve, but you accept where you are, and then you can grow from it if there's ability to grow. But there's certain things that I do agree that it's like you do just have to accept. Like, don't, it's like that thing about teaching a fish to fly. He's gonna feel really shitty because he can't fly.
Right.
So you gotta accept you're a fish, and you have your role and your purpose in that ocean. You swim, little fish, right? So we all have our role and our purpose, and the things that you can do something about it. But if you can't, accept it, love it, and build on it.
Guys, I see y'all people. You better write what you love about yourself.
Hold
I'm
on,
thinking about it too. Don't get me wrong. I don't know.
you're what?
Maybe I love the fact that I have changed to the person that I am today in the aspect of I am more receptive and less responsive.
Okay.
And remember, guys, it could be whatever. Physically, I know this is a body image, but that is part of your image of who you are, of your body. So I guess whatever. I mean, if I would have said something physical, I guess I love my hair. I don't know.
Therapist Helen. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our freedom and our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our happiness. Viktor Frankl. Coño. Therapist Helen bringing that fire.
Seriously. I'm in that space that lies our freedom
Between
and our power.
stimulus and response. There is
That's
a
what we are. Damn. I'm going to write poetry now. Thank you. So Sharon says she loves my kindness. She loves her weird humor. Love for music and food, my hugs, and my empathy ways. Mm.
Yes. Oh,
See,
I love that about you too, and I don't even know you.
well, I know her. I know how she looks, and I know her genuine like heart. She was so always nice to me, and I'm gonna cry. And I just love the way that she is. She was always so kind, no matter what situation was out there.
And that's so attractive, isn't it? And we're not talking about sexual attraction
No,
overall. No,
just
you can be attracted to we're attracted to our friends. That's what calls us to that person and connect and be there. You're attracted to their energy, to their personality traits. I'm attracted to Chubby's way of like, you say what's on your mind. I so respect that. There's the no filter is real with this one, right? And it's in a way that is from a place of love. It's not from just like,
right.
So kindness and those things are so beautiful and attractive and welcome. Yes. Go ahead. What you about? Peter, always demanding your percentage, but where is your comments right now? Come on.
Like we always say, your vibe attracts your tribe, and that's like you just said. That's why we have the friends we do. We have similarities in between each other, like you and I do. Because we're both opinionated people, and we both are just out there. Helen says she loves her wanderlust, plus her eyes and her wit. Ooh.
She does have beautiful eyes. Wanderlust. I love that word, and I would never associate it with what it actually means.
Your desire to
travel and just go around.
To be anywhere. Like my saying is anywhere but here. Hashtag that's mine. Anywhere
I
but
think all of us with that wanderlust inside of us, we hashtag gypsy souls. Oh, and
Yes.
smile. Yes. Yes, the smiles.
Oh, Peter's laughing at you.
Because I told him, where's your comment? Oh, look. I cried so much, I messed up my wing.
He says you'll get your response once you approve 55. Boy, you went flopping. Nah.
Listen, Peter, you better play nice. It's a beautiful body image, body positive, and lovey day. Don't fuck it up.
Well, what about you? You didn't. I gave you my response. They are giving you a response. What about you?
What? Something I love about me? Go
Whatever
take.
it is, it doesn't matter what it is. Just you.
I think I've said this before. I I like that I have this like childlike wonder about shit. Like I like that I still get amazed by things and just like genuine just wow. I really hope I never lose that. So
Yeah.
I love that about me.
And that's the thing I admire with other people. You have things that I don't have. Like I never had a childhood. I don't have that. Like I'm not impressed easily. Please, like you gotta do more than what you think is the average for me to be like that impressed. Like that childhood like wonder type thing that you just mentioned. I don't have that. I mean, I love to be anywhere but here. I love to travel.
It
I love
happens
to
in
experience.
general, like when it comes to like talent and performances, and that gives me like when see someone, I get a lot of childlike wonder also in nature. I love
Mm,
nature and seeing new things, but not and by new things I don't necessarily mean new. I mean like old. I love old shit.
yeah.
I love broken down things. Yeah.
Oh, guys, well, before we log off, Helen says Wanderlust for me also equals thirst for life. There is so much to live and experience. Totally. There's so much to see. And the fact that some people never get to leave their city,
Yeah.
their country, their state baffles me. And I know that it's circumstantial to some of them,
Oh my
but
god.
the world is so big. And it's so like, yeah, that's how I feel. Oh, hey, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Brian says he loves his creative side, the ability to face fears and accomplish my goals, etc.
Fears. I love that. We talked about this yesterday, no? My friend Jeff has the statement, follow your fears, right? And then we all hear the
Yes.
everything you want is on the other side of fear.
Well, we have one more. We're gonna read at least two more. Other than that, we're gonna have to really go because we didn't expect this to be a 2 hour episode.
For real.
Um, Peter says, "Me, well, who am I complimenting? It is myself. I love my observant nature. I am not quick to judge and love to hear and understand all sides of story before I start or judge something. And even then, I am extremely accepting. Not sure if I did this right.
There's no right or wrong, but that was right.
There is no right or wrong. It's about you,
Yeah, it
and
was about you.
it begins with accepting you and how you are. That is part of your body. You, the way you are, because it's inside of you.
We need to be kinder to ourselves, but also call it that accountability thing. Call yourself on your own shit, but don't make like I have a tendency to be too hard on myself sometimes, but we got to be hard on ourselves a little bit because if not, we get complacent.
Ooh, you know what I've noticed from our last episode about you? You haven't said sorry in a while.
Oh shit.
Now, when she talks over our WhatsApp, she doesn't say sorry. She just talks, and I just noticed that because I'm like,
Oh, I feel like a little tree, a little sprout, a little springlet.
but seriously, you have not used the goddamn awful word because I feel like if you're not genuinely sorry and you're just filling the space, unnecessary. But you have growth.
Do you know what else I noticed? I say, and this I learned from you, Chuby. I say no.
Oh, oh, high five, virtual high five. Give me a high five.
I say no. Oh
Damn.
no. I say no now. Recovering people pleaser. That's what it looks like.
Yes. I am happy for. I mean, I've said yes instead of saying no when I'm supposed to. I don't say no just for the
Right.
hell of it,
Yeah.
but that
And you like
Hmm?
you always like you are the epitome like I always say about like people can have their differences and still like talk and get along. And you're the epitome of that because we have our differences of likes and dislikes and you don't like get hung up on it. And you take the time to do the communicating. What we were talking about Johnny Depp and you explained why you're not a fan. And not only did it help my perspective, but you said it in such a way that was like, if you keep supporting, that's fine. This is why I feel how I feel.
right.
And I think that is important, especially in the times of the now,
Right.
where there's so much happening in the world, so many differing opinions and perspectives, that we lose sight and of how to be kind to each other and not hate on each other just because we think different. Now,
Right.
we know we're not crossing into the lines of like racism and
Oh
prejudice and
no,
things like that.
that's no, no.
But, religiously speaking, politically speaking, everybody's going to have their differences. Um, we can help shift each other's perspective without talking people down, without this BS canceling culture shit.
There's some trivial things that we shouldn't be hung up on, but people are. Like, if I was so hung up on you loving Hamilton, I really wouldn't be your friend because that
Legit.
is right. But I'm not because I don't care. Guess what? At the end of the day, I don't have to watch it. I don't have to listen to it. I don't.
How beautiful it is to have differences.
Exactly.
You don't like Hamilton, but you've introduced me to a couple of songs that I've never heard of in my damn life that I loved. Right? And I introduced you to some bands too, if I must say. You know what I'm
You
saying?
introduced me, yeah, and that's the
So it's
beautiful.
like, we don't like Hamilton, it's okay. We like something else together.
We are coexisting together and still respecting each other. This is the whole where Plur came into. If you guys remember, and you don't remember, go back to the episode. We are coexisting together as two different human beings, two different body types, two different mentalities, two different upbringing. Yet we're friends.
Yeah.
We still respect each other and we still listen to each other, and we're not. What's the word I'm looking for? We're receptive to each other's what we have to say without having to be like, Vanessa, cállate, I don't want to hear it. We're not gonna get anywhere if that's the case.
And that's the realness in the entire world.
Right.
We want change. We can't focus on the problem because there's nothing to poof from.
Right. We know
The
it's there.
problem has been mentioned. Where's the solution at?
Right.
Let's go
Exactly.
from there. Bueno, caballeros, we did this. This was the episode right here.
We gotta go.
This was getting close to like the consent episode was what, 2 hours?
3.
Three. But this was important. This was meaningful. Thank you for being here with me and holding this space for each other and for the people watching. And thank you all for sharing those beautiful things that you love about yourselves. We love you too. You show up here and you give us things to talk about and think about. It's greatly appreciated.
Yes. And remember to always stay fearless because that's part of why we're here. I know it's scary, easier said than done. Again, baby step lead you forward. They always will.
But show
Just
up,
love
baby. Show up. Show up because the fear isn't expecting it. They
Get
get
to know
scared.
Get to know yourself, love yourself first, and give yourself a hug.
Yep.
And have a
And in the month of November, y'all better be saying I love you once a day, at least once a day. You can say it as many times as you want. I love you and something you love about yourself.
yes. And but be honest.
Yeah. And if you choose to post about it, tag us. We want to celebrate it. For you.
Hashtag I love that November. Thanks to therapist Helen. And hashtag that. And we could start with ourselves too. We do that. Woo!
Starting November 1st, I will be posting November 1st all the way to the end of November. I love that November thing.
Damn.
Just so you know I'm doing it.